your podcast, go on StreamYard because it's really good because you can go live on all your platforms like
Oh, really?
YouTube, Facebook, and then after that you can take the audio from from there and put it on your podcast. And then see with StreamYard, you can already record, so it's automatically recorded up to your YouTube, so you don't have to do all the crazy editing. So you can make
Yeah,
it, then edit whatever, add whatever you want to add, but it's so easy. It makes everything like go smoother.
that's awesome. I have to check it out. I've never heard of it besides you mentioning it yesterday or today.
It's new. It's new. This is the future.
Hmm.
The
Definitely, it
future.
looks like it. Definitely looks like
All
it.
right. Season 3, episode number 16. Welcome. What's up, everybody? Welcome to season 3, episode 16 of the Campus Cuts podcast. Going live. Shout out to everybody that's here today. I got a special guest. I got a BU alum. I got a guy from my neck of the woods. I got a recording artist, a mechanical engineer, somebody real estate, but most importantly, just a really, really great guy. A guy that's really shifting the culture and he's utilizing his talents to the best of his ability. O'Neal, aka Genesis Gray, welcome to the show, bro.
I appreciate it. How's everyone doing? Thank you for having me,
Man,
man.
honestly, I'm super blessed that you're here on the show. I put it up on there, and then you hit me up, and I'm like, okay, for sure, absolutely. So, I mean, of course, I have my introduction, but the way that I want to start the show is, what is your name? What's your occupation, whatever, and then after
Yeah.
that, we'll move on from there.
Okay. Well, my government name is O'Neal Mbakwe. I graduated from Baylor University in 2018, got a mechanical engineering degree, and used that to move down to Austin and get a job at a tech company. So I've been in Austin for about 2 years, and I've loved it. It's a big pool of culture, big
Right.
pool of culture. Like one thing is not the same, and it's small enough to where you can do a lot of things, but not big enough to where you have to go and travel like hours.
Right.
So
Right.
I've been really enjoying my time here in Austin. When I got to Austin, I was introduced into real estate from my family and relatives. So I just started hitting the ground running. Really kept my head down and saved enough to be able to get my first investment property, and then um, just use that as a way of gaining income.
Yeah.
So now, well, yeah, that's me, O'Neal. Yeah,
Yeah, bro. That's so good. And this is not even a business podcast, bro.
yeah,
I'm more interested in just like your perspective and your journey, bro. So usually this first started off as a Baylor podcast. My question would be like, okay, how did you like get into Baylor, your journey, talk about equity, diversity, diversity and inclusion, but now this is like more of a equity and representation pod. But bro, talk about I'm more focused on like, yo, just your being as a person, right? And so I remember I was going scrolling through your IG back again, and then I came across this post when you were promoting your podcast, and you saying like, "I'm not a black male." I'm like, you are talking about you, like us being a multidimensional being. I'm a huge believer
yeah,
get that concept of, or not concept, but how is it being able to live life with that open mindedness and that awareness, first and foremost, about your consciousness and you living life to your fullest capability?
yeah. That's a good question. Um, it makes me more accepting of different people, different cultures. The reason I made that post instead of saying I'm a black man and switching it to I am a man is because that's what I want to be known as, a
Right,
man. Don't treat me differently because I am black. Treat me as you would because of my traits and who I am as a man. Uh, in terms of how that's led me to like be able to chop it up with different people of different ways of life and actually genuinely create a bond with them and not worry about where they came from or what their belief is. Just know that they have different values in me, but that doesn't mean I can't accept them for who they are as a
Right.
person. So even with me being Genesis Gray, I know we didn't ask the question, but I want to get into it about why I chose Genesis Gray
Right.
for my
Yeah.
name. So growing up, I grew up in the suburbs, and I was surrounded by a lot of white people.
Hmm.
And me being a black kid surrounded by a lot of white people, I was at times seen as too white to be black from my
Hmm.
black friends. And then to the white people, it was like, I'm too black to be white.
Right.
So instead of just trying to be black or white, I'm just going to be me, which is in the middle, and black and white makes gray.
Right.
So Genesis is origins, and I just come from that gray and really, really try to embrace it. And it works, you know?
Yeah. Bro, dude, that is. I think that is such a. And you're both. We're both first gen, and I know exactly how that feels when people used to say, "Oh, because the way that you articulate yourself, oh, you're not black enough. Oh,
Yeah, man.
you're white, man. Like what, dude? Like you grew up with a bunch of white kids. Oh man, whatever. Like forget that. Like,
Exactly.
dude, it sucks.
No, you're not even, it's so true. And there's this one time, I was making a phone call and I was speaking to someone. He was a black man,
Right.
and we went to go have lunch. And he hadn't met me before. The first time we met was over the phone.
Right.
And what he told me was, I thought you were white. And I was like, what made you think I was white? And he said, because you spoke proper.
Right.
And this was coming from a black man. And I just was shook because it's like, I felt at that point we were expecting so little of ourselves. And the truth is, whether you're black, whether you're yellow, whether you're white, like you can be anything that you want to be. You can be articulate, you can be not articulate,
Right.
but it shouldn't define your culture, you know?
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
And then, so talk about when you are being first generation American, and you try to tell you that to your Nigerian, to your parents, and how was it? You even had the opportunity and the chance to be able to express that to your family and like try to like express that sentiment, like, hey guys, apparently I was told I was white, or this, I'm in this gray area, because I think, from my end, it is such a great area to be a first generation American, your family being immigrants, they're trying to figure it out, but then you trying to adjust to the culture, and they put you in a position. And then, of course, with African ideology, sometimes they say, do not claim with them because they will
Yeah.
bro, like, how was just like growing up in your neighborhood? Um, how was that for you? And then after that, we'll move on to like, then why, and then from there, why did you even choose Baylor?
Hmm. Growing up in my neighborhood, it wasn't bad, you know? Um, I can remember my childhood, like going up to middle school. I had friends who were white, who were Asian, and it's like they didn't really see race, and neither did I.
Hmm.
And it wasn't until high school that it started really being an issue. Um, all of middle school from sixth to ninth grade, I actually went to school in Nigeria, so I was out of America for a good 2.5 to 3 years, just submerging myself in Nigerian culture for my benefit. But when I came back, that's when I saw that um, racism is real, you know, and it didn't really move me to the point of like getting mad at people or uh, deciding to treat them differently
Right.
just because of one person was wrong or one person was a bad apple. I didn't take that out on other people, but it just really opened my eyes to what I could be potentially facing. You know?
Hmm.
Yeah. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, yeah, bro,
Okay.
absolutely. And then, so why
Okay.
did you choose Baylor out of all the colleges, like before, before you went?
Man.
Why'd you end up, bro?
To be honest, bro, the only reason I chose Baylor was initially I wanted to go out of state. So I applied to Georgia, I applied to Purdue, um, I applied to what's that one school called? Duke. And
Right.
I got into Georgia and Purdue. And the only in-state school I applied to, just because my parents said so, was Baylor. So I got into Georgia and Purdue. So I was like, all right, bet I'm gonna choose one of these two. And my parents came out of nowhere and said, "You're going to Baylor. You're going to Baylor." And I just couldn't argue it. I wasn't in a position to argue. So I ended up going to Baylor. But I mean, I enjoyed my time over there for sure. I mean,
Yeah.
it was a blessing in disguise. So everything happened for a reason.
Right, right, bro. Oh man. And then like I came in as a freshman before after that the year that you graduated, or like that's like that 2017, 2018. So I
Yeah,
was no, I knew of you. Like, people always said great things, but we never really talked until that day when we went to a mutual friend's funeral.
yeah,
Right.
yeah,
Yeah. And I was
yeah,
like, yo, you know my family? I didn't, because that's fam, right? And I was like, bro, I didn't even know that you knew my cousin.
yeah. That was my bro. That was my bro. Yeah.
Jeez, man, bro. Shout out Capel, Texas. Uh,
Coppell Cowboys.
man, but that like and it made me. That was such a. I think at that moment, it was just so weird because I didn't ever think that, like, once I personally escaped, well, not escaped, but when I moved out of Dallas, when I moved out of North Texas, that I would like the world would intersect like that, right?
Hmm.
And just after they seeing you there, I'm like, oh shoot, man. All right, we here. People know, like, that is so crazy. I never like, and what are the odds of that happening? Oh, that was one thing I was just like, man, how does O'Neal know what?
Yeah, yeah. It's a small world, to be honest.
It was a
Small world.
small world, bro. Such a small world, man. But just grateful that from that experience, and just even being there, because I know that one, it was comforting, like, okay, cool. One, showing the impact that he had of so many people everywhere. But two, is like, okay, I think that was such a sobering, because during that time of my life, um, I was a little bit bitter, because how people can be a little bit petty and all of this or whatever. And I'm just
Hmm.
like, like, just put all away. Oh my, really? Oh, I'm live on Twitch. I did a podcast. Hold on, I'm about to be back real quick.
All right,
All
I
right,
got
guys.
you.
So this doesn't happen, but we here.
What's going on, you guys? It is me, Genesis Gray. Um, if you're watching, follow me on Instagram at KENA.M as in Mary, B as in boy. Uh, whatever you guys are going through, whatever it is, it could be good, it could be bad, but just know that you're in this moment for a reason. If you're watching this, you're in this moment for a reason. And just let me know if y'all need to talk or anything. Back to the show.
All right, we back. My family, they got me food. So random, bro. My bad. Um, but now it's. I think one of the things that we need to realize was, you graduated, bro. How's post grad life been? Like, talk about that experience of just of being able to be post grad, and because no one really talks about it like that.
Man, it's been enlightening. It's been enlightening being on my own, um, paying for my, keeping my, just being responsible for my life.
Right.
There's a lot of things that I've learned all the way that I didn't know growing up, nor did I know in college, that I'm learning now because I made a mistake, or I'm learning now because it's right in front of my face and I have to be quick on my feet to learn. But life after graduation has really been a blessing in disguise and a blessing that I couldn't have asked for in any other way. That's one of the funny things about like life, bro.
Right.
You ask for stuff and you ask for stuff and you manifest stuff, but you don't know how it's going to be given to you
Right.
until you like really look at it and it's
Right.
given to you in a way that couldn't be better. You know what I mean?
Right.
So after life after college has been good. I've made a good network of friends here in Austin, and it's just keep on learning. You
Right.
know, you don't want to get out of college and be at a place where you're stagnant or just settled in the position that you're in. Nah, you have to keep on growing and be willing to keep on growing. So that's what I'm going through right now, and I enjoy it. I
Yeah.
enjoy it.
No, but I think that's a really good point because I'm like, okay, one of the questions for me that I've just been thinking about is like, okay, how does one make friends after college? How does one make like how do adults make friends? How does
Yeah.
like have you heard of Mine's new album, Limbo?
No, I haven't. I
Bro,
haven't.
oh man. So
I'm asleep.
you need to listen to it because it's so good. But in that album, um there was an interlude about Kobe, right? And
Mm,
Kobe's like 2020 ending and Kobe, like his friend who actually happened to be a voice actor on Big Mouth. What he was saying was, when I first after Kobe died, like my childhood died. Like that's when I was like, okay, cool. Now let me start learning about how to make money. Let me start learning how to buy a house. Let me start learning this and sort of all these other adultish things, right? And I think the question about like you hear the conversation about post grad depression. You hear the conversation of like most people feeling stuck or not really quite sure where to go after college, man.
mhm.
And you're 2 years out, 2 years, almost 3 years next year. Um, like I wanted to know, like, how was transitioning out of grad after graduating and you finding your path to where you are now?
Yeah, that's true. I think a lot of us do have that anxiety of what's next. What am I going to do next? And I need to do something now and do it quick. And that was me when I graduated from college. It was, what am I going to do to make money? All right, I need to be rich. And I need to find a way to pay these loans back. And I already had a job, but it was like, okay, I wanted something more lucrative. And that's what led me into like trying to, well, that's what led me into real estate and just what really motivated me to start that. But as I was going on through real estate, I was meeting a bunch of different people, and something that was always common between what they said was that there's always enough time, there's always enough love, and there's always enough money.
Right.
And it shifted my mindset to from something of being scarce to
Mm,
something of being abundant.
mm,
And when you have that abundant mindset, it's like, okay, I know there's somewhere I want to be, but it's like I'm not going to do something I'm not passionate about to get there. You know
right.
what I'm saying? So now my mindset is really focused on what it is I'm passionate about and using that passion to take me to where I want to go. So whoever is in that situation where you guys are already graduated college and you're figuring out what to do, just breathe and take your time. You're only what, 23, something, not even 23 when you graduate college.
Yeah.
You have time to figure out what it is that you want to do. Just try different things, figure out different passions, and something will play out.
That's a good point, but then, bro, like everybody says that. Everybody says that, bro. It's like, bro, it's so corny. But like, what if it happens to a person that's like stuck in debt? They're trying to figure it out, like all of this, that, and the third. Because I know that because some, and I think again, as you said, it's really more about that mindset and how you're able to vibrate on that certain frequency. Because more people, I know people try to get a little skeptical, like, oh, now you're on the spiritual miracle talk, but Dr. Joe Dispenza and
Hmm.
and all that. Like, there's literally is a higher dimension, a quantum field that God created. It's physics, this, that, and the third, and the energy that you do vibrate will return. It will be attracted.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And it kind of what hurts my heart is sometimes that some people maybe in their life will never ever reach that point. I don't know, bro. That's just and that's it hurts because I'm like, man, like this world is abundant. There is enough space for everybody to feel like they belong, whatever. But I don't know. What are your thoughts on that, man?
I that's I've seen I know people who are thinking like that, like, and I came from the position of, well, I know you can relate with this. You're coming from the position of, I want you to think the way that I do and know that this world is abundant, that everything that you have that you want is in your control to get. And there's people who don't see it that way. And at the same time that it does sadden me. And sometimes it motivates me
Right,
because it's like, let me show you that it's possible. Like what you want is everything is once you want is easily it's not easily manifested, but it's something that can be manifested if you believe it. So hopefully I can be some influence in terms of influencing other people to follow their passions or do what they want to do and know that there is an abundance, or know that because I did it, I'm no different from anyone else, that they can do it too. I'm a simple guy,
right.
probably the simplest guy you'll ever meet. And, and if I can do it, then you could do it too. Like, so that's how I feel about it. Yeah.
Right, right. And I really think that's cool. I really think that is good that you're saying how you are living life in simplicity. You know, and I think too many times we make life more complicated than it needs to be. God's like, hey, bro, I got this. But we're trying like, we're too busy in this rush attitude, and this is because of we live in a Western society that thrives off capitalism and thrives off trying to,
Yeah.
um, and so, man, when it comes to you and your understanding of manifestation, when was the very first time, or one of the very first key moments that you realized that manifesting is real? Like, this idea, like you this thought came in, you prayed, you did this, and then you moved in it, and it was like, okay, bet.
Hmm. After college, um, when I started like going hard into my uh, real estate journey and just trying to learn the ropes, I was always asking and manifesting for a mentor, someone who I could look up to, someone who I could respect, and someone who I can aspire to be like. And I hadn't found it. I hadn't found a mentor who I thought was suitable for me. And there's this one time where I went to a gathering, and before I went into the gathering, I was like, God, if my mentor is here, reveal him to me or her to me. Just show me something. Just really just uh, wanting it. And I went to this house gathering that I wasn't even intending to go to. One of my other associates, she led me to it. And I met this man who was like a business coach.
Right.
And he ended up giving this lady who was losing her business some advice. And he then looked at me and he was like, "Are you a model?" And I was like, "No." He was like, "Oh, you just carry you just carry yourself well." And I was like, "Well, I appreciate it." So I just heard his conversation throughout the whole time of the event, and I was just walked up to him, and I was scared because I was always afraid of him saying no or whatever. I was just like, "Will you mentor me?" Literally, I just said those words, and he said no. He said no. He said no, and I was like why? Like what's the issue? Are you busy or what's going on? And then he was like, just questioning whether I wanted it or not. So
Mm,
he gave me some books to read, and I read them. And I asked to formally meet him again at another time at a Starbucks, and we met there. And I really got to get to know him, and he knew who I was. And from then on, that was like a year ago or a year and a half ago, and he's my mentor, and I'm able to call him and speak to him and um, listen to what he says. He actually wrote a book recently. I'm gonna send you the title after this session, but it's called "If You Lead, People Will Follow." So he wrote this book,
Oh
and
wow.
it's game changer, game changer, game changer. But that was probably the manifestation that I had, that I really saw like, all right, you give it to me in weird ways, God, but
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to have it any other way, you know?
Right. Right.
So,
That is good, and that is good. And actually, that's actually a really good. I think next topic that we can dive into a little bit, man, is like, what does it mean to be a leader? What does it mean to be a leader in your life and by yourself? And also, like, what does it mean for you with your aspirations, and how you're moving and moving into your passion? Like, what
mhm.
does it mean to lead? What does it mean for Genesis Gray to lead?
For Genesis Gray to lead, I think it means for me to have influence on others indirectly.
Mm,
And that influence is going to be coming from me focusing on my growth and receiving help from people who are at a level where I want to be. So let's say I have a mentor now, he's a leader. Um, I favor some of his traits as a leader, and I want to be like that. There's someone I look up to.
right,
As I am starting those traits and I'm embodying that carry those characteristics, other people will see that. And it's not even because I told them, hey, come look at me and come watch me do this. Come watch me do this. It's because they see the action and they see that I am serious, and
right,
I'm intentional about what I'm doing. And
right,
because of that, it's just a ripple effect of influence, and um, I get known as a leader. I
right.
don't even want it's I don't it's not like I'm waking up every day saying that I'm a leader. I wake up every day saying, uh, what am I going to do to get done what I need to get, be grateful for it,
Right, right. And bro, in like in a world, especially in a social media driven world, where I was watching this thing. I'm not sure if do you have TikTok?
But I just downloaded it like 2 days ago.
Right, bro. It's very interesting. There was this thing, this page that I came across. Are you happy? The Are you happy? One of
Hmm.
my favorite pages on TikTok, and this content is really great. And I don't know, like I think the influencer age, it's scary because I've like I've interviewed couple of TikTok influencers and people that are like are influential, and just imagine like whenever you see somebody, I mean, shoot, I even say too, like, hey, okay, follow for more tips. But sometimes I feel like kind of like an energy, like, man, I don't want people to follow. If you're attracted to me, they'll come. But
Hmm.
we're at this age where it's like, okay, great, um, follow me, follow me, follow me, follow me, follow me. But
Yeah.
great leaders are great followers. Then they become leaders. But into like and now we're in an age where the people that are leading our generation or younger, right?
Hmm.
They don't know what it means to be a leader, and they're not as intentional with how they're leading because the influence goes like crazy. I think
Hmm.
I was listening to Lecrae Restoration on the album, and to be famous. I want to do cool stuff. I want to do that. Like it's not even about it's about impact, yes, but I think just the idea of fame can be nobody's meant to carry or be looked at as like a god. I don't know, bro. What you think about that? Because now, like you are a recording artist. Of course, you want people to follow your stuff because you like it. Plus, you want to
Hmm.
make money. But I don't know what is your tension like when it comes to the idea of like influence and you living out the life that you want to, but also understanding like the other darker side of that thing that will come when that fame happens to get there.
Mm. Well, what do you mean by darker things?
I think well, the ego, ego. manifesting into like addiction. You just see all the whole Hollywood script, whatever, and plus, and that's honestly predominantly more of those record companies taking advantage of people mentally.
Hmm.
But I think more of, I wouldn't say darker, but more of the pressure and the expectations that are there, that are sometimes like comments, weird stuff like it's something.
Yeah. No, I see what you mean. I'll first start off by saying like other people's expectations can be their expectations, but I need to first stay true to the expectations that I have for myself. And with social media and
Right,
influencing, it's it's not an issue to say, all right, follow me for this, follow me for that, follow me for that. But is the content that you're giving out genuine? Is the content that you're giving out authentic? Is the content that you're giving out gonna be a reason for people to keep on following you? And if it is, then you shouldn't feel bad for asking people to follow you because you have genuine things. Like with your campus cuts and your page, you give influential things. You say influential things and give influential content, which is why you have retained and you are progressing in the amount of followers that you may have. Someone can gain a bunch of followers and then people can just spot them out and see that they're phony. And then those followers start to move away.
right,
So in terms of that, the people who are authentic and true will will rise, you know.
right.
They're the ones who will be consistent. They're the ones that will that will still be here at another level years from now, you know. In terms of like fame and um the dark side, I haven't thought about the dark side. Like I really I've only been thinking about just releasing my music and the effect that it will have on people because there's a song I released in like while I was in Baylor. It was called J.O.B.
Hmm.
And uh people I did not expect people to like that song at all. And come to find out it has a lot of streams. I'll just put it like that.
Right,
And when I went to go perform the song at Baylor, the the energy in the room, it was it was amazing. It was amazing. Like to have everyone in that building vibe and resonate with something that came from you
right.
is a feeling that it's a euphoric feeling that you can't get anywhere else. I know you know what I mean, and just in your own facet, you know.
Same
So
with
I
you.
just
Mm-hmm.
yeah, yeah. So just with um being able to influence and through my passions is what I'm focused on, and just setting my expectations and moving on from there. And if I'm satisfied with my expectations, then good. If I'm not, then I'll find a way to grow and learn.
Right, right, bro. How did you even fall into music? Were you always a musician? Like, how did you even fall into that?
Uh, to be honest, it was my older brother.
Really?
Um, growing up, he would always like make freestyles to random things. One time he made a freestyle to Colgate and Aqua Fresh, and it was fire. It was fire. And I was like 7 and he was 10 at the time. So ever since I saw him doing freestyles and making songs, it was something that was of interest to me. And I just started trying to do it myself, try to sing, try to make lyrics, and that's what I'm doing right now too. So it's pretty
Bro,
cool.
that is dope, man. And I think that I'm a huge proponent that creativity is what makes the world go round. Like, without a doubt. And so now my next question for you, bro, is like, when it comes to creativity, how do you view creativity, and how has it impacted your life? How's it
How
feel?
has creativity impacted my life?
Yeah.
It brings me peace, being able to be creative, be able to have an outlet to where I can release my thoughts. It's allowed me to grow through trial and error, through trying different things with my music or with my art. And it's just been, it wasn't until recent that I was like, okay, wow, you can use your creativity to make money. Because the way I grew up, it was go to school,
Mhm.
get your education, and get a secure job,
Right.
which I did those things. So I'm blessed and fortunate for that. And now that I've done that, it's like I can use my creativity to do something even more than what I've done now.
Mm,
So it just gives me an outlet. That's what I love about creativity.
right. Right.
There's so many different ways too. I mean, so many different kinds of creativity.
Yeah.
Shoot,
Yeah,
yeah,
bro. I mean, because I think most people think whenever they think about creativity, it's like, oh, you have to be in art or you have to be in this. No, I mean, I think the classic example or the modern example of creativity would be the man himself, Mr. Elon Musk. Elon Musk
mm,
himself is an engineer. He's not a businessman, but like he is an engineer who is utilizing his engineering skills and who has that entrepreneurial mindset, but has used that drive of creating solutions.
yeah,
And that came Tesla with him being a popular, like, a pop culture icon, with him like, changing like literally from bro, most people don't even realize from PayPal. He was the one that created
yeah,
PayPal.
yeah, yeah.
Yo, and sees like, okay, I'm gonna go in there, I'm gonna try to figure out a way. And and bro, and so many people doubted him. And it's like, bro, like same with Kanye. Kanye, I was watching his interview with Nick Cannon today, a multi-genius as he says himself. Like now, like just the ingenuity. And I think everybody has that factor. You don't have to be some artist or whatever. You can literally be creative in your field because one, I really think it's, and this is my theology, that the core of us as a human, my friend Chelsea was so good. The core of us is she said this to me. The core of us as a freedom was like our main function was to create a name. Like our main function, like we are made from a creator and who created us, and they gave us Adam and Eve, and then after that they had children, and he was sent to name stuff.
Hmm.
That's the end, and like that's an extension of who God created us to be, right? But now it's like this elusive thing where people think oh, it's only subjugated for a certain amount of people. It's like, nah, man, it's really inside of you. It's inside all of us. We
Yeah,
have gifts and the talents. But now we live in a 9 to 5 world or just a society that really crushes that out of people.
hmm,
Like, and creativity really thrives from the kid like fearlessness of us achieving and going after our things, you know?
yeah, yeah, yeah. I think there's a lot of pressures that people face that doesn't take away their creativity, but it definitely subsides or diminishes it to where they feel like they don't have it at all. And I've been there, you know. Um, but it's like, what did you want to do when you were a kid? You know, what is it that you were so eager to do when you're a kid, and how can you do it now? It doesn't have to be to a large scale where you're changing the world, but is it to the point to where you're satisfied and you are at peace when there's no other way to gain that peace, you know?
Right, right, man. And I highly recommend that you watch this TED Talk that I watched earlier, no, last week with Ethan Hawke. He has such a great 8 minute TED Talk about it. So
Ethan Hawke.
Ethan Hawke, bro, Ethan
I
Hawke,
like that down.
actor, um, producer, director, musician, um, and it's Ethan Hawke. Just search up YouTube, Ethan Hawke creativity, bro. I
Okay.
think you will love and you will resonate with it so much.
That sounds all amazing. I appreciate that.
And I highly recommend anybody that's watching or will watch this or will listen that this will continue to inspire to do that, right? Um, man, I can go on and on and on about creativity. I really think so. It's such a valuable thing. I'm
Yeah.
man. Now, Neil, bro, this is we're in a situation where the American climate is pretty hot. The society and culture, right? Um, we were taxed with so much. How was it for you when COVID-19, George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery, the Anna, like, how did that make you feel, bro? What was your reaction, and how are you feeling, like, still to this day, about what's just happening?
I was overwhelmed. I was really overwhelmed. I think um, COVID, on top of George Floyd, on top of Ahmaud and Breonna, all happening within the span of, what was it, 5 months?
Yeah,
And it's not like they are the only ones that are receiving that kind of treatment, but the fact that it was streamed and the whole world saw it and I saw it, it was overwhelming, like overwhelming. And to the point where I kind of didn't feel comfortable where I was.
really.
I didn't feel comfortable because I'd be walking and yeah, I'd have uh, white people look at me, but it's like, what are they thinking? What are they saying in their minds? Um, and is it something that is negative? And that's why I made a podcast on Anchor, just saying um, if they knew what we looked like under our skin and stuff like that. Um, I actually went home a couple weeks ago, and like I said, I grew up in a predominantly white neighborhood. And even going back home, I didn't feel comfortable.
Mm.
Even going back home, I didn't feel comfortable because of the things that are still going on. And I was at a point where I was so involved and so just my headspace got messed up, messed up, and I couldn't keep myself there anymore. And instead of just looking at the news every day, I just decided not to and handle what it is that I have to handle and move on from there. So I dwelled on it for a while, but I don't dwell on it too much because it's yeah, it's it can be tough. It
Yeah,
is tough.
yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It is so tough. And I actually asked Evan this question yesterday. And he said he really loved the question about, like, how is it for him as a white man, uh,
Hmm.
people pointing the finger at him, or just like the idea. And he said, "Bro, thanks for being bold." I'm like, "Yo, but this is what it's about. This is what the pod. This is why we pod, and this is why we're doing this, creating a long form dialogue where people are able to actually talk and discuss and conversate." Um, so now for you, as a man, but as a black man in America, like, people, has there was there a shift in your attitude towards other races, towards white people, or anything of that, or was it more of, and remember, and you have lived a life with a global mindset and a global experience, and all these are super important, but was there like a shift in, like, did you notice like a shift in terms of your attitude, like, I don't want to mess with you anymore?
Not, and I don't want to mess with you anymore, but it was more of a cautious approach. Um, like I said, I've always been someone who's accepting. Like I don't care what race you are, um, what background you carry. It doesn't. That's fine. I accept you. But after that happened, I was always the one to go and introduce myself to someone, and regardless of age, and well, like elderlies,
Right.
And after that, it was harder for me to do. It's not something that I denied myself of doing, but it was something that was hard for me to do because in the back of my head, I was thinking, what were they thinking? You know, what were they thinking of me when I came to approach them? And yeah, it made me hesitant at times. It did.
Mm. And how are you able
Okay.
to learn that? And I think, and remember, like just in the process of us healing and coming together and all that, how did you unlearn, or how are you continuously walking to unlearn just that little bit of that hesitation?
Just to really focus on my intentions with introducing myself or walking up to those people. Um, my intentions are pure,
Right,
and hopefully they see or they feel that my intentions are pure. So if I know my intentions are pure, I can't be fearful of what your intentions might be until you show me those intentions,
right,
you know? So that's what really I had to tell myself and um, really practice is staying true to my intentions and making sure that my intentions are pure when I'm meeting someone, you know?
right, right. And I think it is so important that we continue to have, as Evan was saying, that grace and that peace, and creating that space for other people to continue to do that, especially in a world where, one, our mind is under attack, like constantly.
Hmm.
That's the new world war. Like, in a world where everything's so clickbaity, in a world that everybody's like, and see, the thing is, most people think, oh, the world is so divisive. Nah, man, it's divisive because that's a reflection of your mind. Like,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think people really need to understand that the political situation, or all any of that. And I might get flack from saying this, but it's a reflection of who we are. I think it, like internally, because we are so quick to put the finger at somebody else, to put that blame. But it's like, who are the people that voted this person out? Who are the people? Why
hmm,
we continue to be gravitated to this news? Why we continue to be gravitated to that? And when you start to understand, hopefully, when people understand that the energy, again, is like the energy that is out there, that's being plastered out there, is because it's what's being, that's what inside of you.
yeah, yeah, that's true. And you talked about grace, and one thing that my mentor talked to me about was gratitude, you know, and just filling yourself up with gratitude, especially in times like this,
Right.
and focusing on the small wins because as you fill yourself with gratitude, what you put in your cup is what is going to pour out. So
Right.
if you put hatred, then hatred's going to pour out when the world shakes you. But if
Right.
you pour positivity in it or gratitude, then that's what's going to pour out when the world shakes you. So it's what you fill yourself up with to keep you sane. And it's easier said than done,
Right.
but it's possible. It's possible.
Right. And so, was there a point in your time in your life where you weren't necessarily putting the right things, pouring the right things into you? And if so, like, I guess, when was the? I mean, of course, it's so hard to put a defining moment, or like a pinpoint or turnaround. But when did you become truly conscious of, yeah, the stuff that I'm feeding myself is coming, it will outflow from me.
Yeah, that's a good. That's a great question. Um, I think that moment happened for me when I was at Baylor. It was about 3 years ago. I was in a car accident, and in the accident, one person died,
Oh wow.
and yeah, and some other girl, she ended up um, going to jail. And I had a broken femur, and I was knocked out unconscious, so I don't remember it at all. I just remember waking up in the hospital with a metal rod up my femur. And after I got out the hospital, it was kind of tough mentally
Right.
because I was just asking why this happened to me. Like I was playing rugby, I was doing good in rugby. Why'd you take this away from me, God? Why'd you do this? And it put me in a space of real isolation. Um, and I needed to get out of it. I
Mm,
needed to get out of that space. And in order to get out that space, I had to accept one, that the accident happened. That's not coming back. Two, I'm never going to remember what happened.
Right.
And that was one thing that was eating at me, because there was someone who was in the car with me uh, who remembers it all. And I was kind of envious of that person because they remembered it, but it was like I had a part of my life that was taken away, that I
Mm,
can't remember, nor will I ever remember. All I know is I was awake, I was not, and I woke up in the hospital. Nothing in between. And it was hard to stomach that and accept it for a long time. And once I accepted it and I just decided to move forward from it and just started to say, okay, now that I still have my life, I'm going to keep living to the best of my ability, then that's when the manifestation started to come in. And me really trying to put my word and my intentions into the universe. Yeah.
mm. That's good, bro. That is so good. And they always say that when you come to the face of death, um, there's two ways you can continue to be in despair or you're moved. Um, and oh man, that is and see, and I think that's such a beautiful part. Like I think once you face death, you live life very definitely very different.
Hmm.
And for me, I was kind of a situation where with car accident and stuff like this. Like, um, I'll tell my testimony. I actually, my friends recording the podcast. My whole story's on there, right? Or the parts that was time allowed. But and I was listening to this podcast with this guy named Ani Hustle, who I had a chance to talk to through a consulting call. And the worst thing that can happen is you die.
Hmm.
I mean, like it is the worst thing at the moment. If you're a believer, great. If not, okay. Ooh. But um, that's the worst thing that can happen. And I think once people are able to realize that, and it's inevitable, right? I think when people are able to realize that, I think people they shift, they move differently, where they live life with more intentionality and
Hmm.
more purpose. And I know that's primarily one of the things that drives me. I'm like, okay, shoot, I already faced death. I mean, at this point, nothing can stop me. Like no matter what, if somebody says no, just like okay, that's fine. But like that's fine, that's okay because
Yeah.
I've in the arena. I've been in a point where shoot, there was a time where I didn't even think I was going to come back alive, and I'm going to seize this opportunity. And I really think that's what, if I'm correct, that's what something similar came out for you on the other side
Hmm.
of that.
Hmm. So then what about like people who haven't been in those near death experiences to where they want to live life fearlessly? Is it now that they need to get into a near death experience to start living with intentions, or what is it that you would say to people who are wanting to live intentionally?
No, they don't. I like forbid, bro. I don't want them. Like I do not. I do not want anybody to go through a situation like that because that is terrifying and it's traumatic. Like yo,
Yeah.
but I think that for anybody that it's more of um I think where it starts is for people to look inside of themselves, and to be able for people to look inside of themselves, they need to stop. They need to stop listening to the world. I think
Mm,
there needs to be at least I think, and I think that's why for me that's why meditation and prayer is so important. That quiet
mm,
time to be able to connect to the source, connect to God. But I really think it's like, oh, but I think there needs to be an extension, like an extension of time. We see Christ walk 40 days, 40 nights. We see Buddha walk away. We see who's else? Muhammad on his quest. We see so many of these religious figures, icons that have taken. They always brought in the importance of isolation and you walking in a time where you don't hear anything. And I think
mhm,
you take away. I was actually it's funny because I read a play about this yesterday, um, about like when they're in a moment of silence and you're just there by yourself. Um, you try to figure out for the things that you want and what the things that you want to do. And when that happens, I think it's us listening to our intuition and us being able to nurture ourselves. We'll get there, right? So
no, I definitely agree. I definitely agree. You don't need to go through a life near death experience to really be open to what life has, you know?
right at all. I because I mean, shoot, man. I hope I don't wish that on anybody, but
Anybody.
but maybe that's why they see some people that have they kind of do have that edge of like, okay, yeah, we're gonna really live it up, or we're really gonna do the thing. And I don't know, man. But actually, now at this point, bro, let me ask you this: what do you think it's the fascination of celebrity, like a celebrity death? We see Chadwick passed away. Like everybody is so willing to be so sad and cry about them. Or even like gawk over their accomplishments. But whenever they see their friend or somebody doing something like that, they're not that you don't. That's just such a wild.
Nah, man. That issue, that that scenario right there, it aggravates me. It makes me mad sometimes because I'm just gonna be frank. We didn't know Chadwick Boseman. We knew him for what he did in the movies,
Right.
but we didn't know him. So if he passes away, yes, it is tragic. Yes, nobody wants anyone to die. But how are you gonna mourn for him in a way that his family's gonna mourn for him? I'm in no position to say how you should mourn, but it's like I'm just gonna be frank. I'm just gonna say it all out there. Is
Bro,
it what's your intentions in posting him being dead? Is it to show social media that you are in the loop of what's happening, to show your remorse, or to give him recognition? And why can't we do that for our friends who have passed away? You know, I don't know that whole topic because when Chadwick Boseman died, I personally didn't know him, but I definitely felt his presence from the work that he's done in the
right,
movies. And I didn't post about his death on my social media because I don't post about deaths on any of my social media because that's not the way I mourn. I mourn in a different way. I want to be alone. I want to be isolated. I want to collect my thoughts to see what is happening, you know? So in terms of celebrity deaths and people posting that, they can do what they want. I'm not here to tell them what they can or cannot do, but I'm just saying that's not something that I do.
right. And I think
Yeah.
it's funny with that too. Um, Bro, I posted out a tweet, bro. I was like, bro, celebrate your friends' accomplishments like you celebrate all these celebrities. They
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
know or care about you. I mean, I actually know no, they don't know or care about you. To be quite frank, because they don't know you, they're not going to care about you. They
Exactly.
don't know you, but then
Hmm.
your friend is out here doing something that is, extraordinary, or they're compassionate, or they're whatever. You can't even put a retweet. You can't even put a post. You can't even. I think in I don't know. That's just such a it's not a crazy concept because and whether that's jealousy, whether that's envy or any of that, but um, and I honestly think it's also the conditioning that we're living in, right? That
Mm.
condition of us celebrate like putting people on a pedestal, and then it kind of diverts us from us really caring to the matter, really caring for the people that are around us.
Yeah. And if I mean, it'd be different if I knew, like, not actually knew Chadwick or a celebrity intimately, but like when Kobe passed away, that hit me because I grew up watching
Right,
him,
right,
always watching his games, just really in the loop of his life. So when he passed away, it was it was sincere, whatever I felt, or it was something that I related to because I have history with him. Um, and I had, not to say I didn't have history with Chadwick, but I just
right,
mourned differently than what other people did, you know?
right, right. Oh man. Well, bro, this is like now the towards the end of the podcast. I'm gonna wrap this up, bro. But these are like kind of like the big questions that I usually. I mean, the whole pod's big questions, but they're like the really big, like they make you think, man. My first question for you is: what are two things that you would tell to your freshman year self in college?
Oh, damn. Involved with girls and be patient. Be patient. Yeah, don't get too involved with girls. Be patient. And I'm gonna say one more. Just don't be afraid to try new things. Yeah, yeah.
Mm,
I think when I moved into freshman year, the first thing I thought was, I'm away from my parents' house. It's time for me to do what I want to do. So I'm gonna go mad. I'm gonna go crazy. I'm going insane. Staying out when I want, going when I want, meeting who I want. I'm doing my own thing.
right.
That's what my mindset was. But there's always time for that, you know? And if me right now, knowing what I know, I would just tell myself to be patient and that there's always a time for that. But I don't even know if my freshman self would have listened to me now. So
Oh man, bro. Do you think you're completely different? Like, I mean, honestly, no. But do you think you're a completely different person than you were like what? That's 6 years ago now.
oh yeah, 6 years ago.
No, that's wild. Whew.
I'm definitely not the same,
Obviously,
but I'm not completely different. Like my who I am at my core will always be the same.
right.
Someone who's, like I said, simple. I'm funny, I think. Uh and I'm interested in trying. I'm curious about the world and like trying new things or uh stuff like that. What has diminished is my fear in trying those new things.
Mm,
So I think freshman year, I always wanted to try new things. I always wanted to do stuff like that, but it was that fear of failure that really held me back. But now I'm at the point like, what does failure look like? Like
yeah,
I can't tell.
yeah, man.
So
Good. That's good, bro. That is so good, bro. I think that's so good, man. Now, my last question for you, bro, is um, what do you want your legacy to be?
I'm coming with the heat. Um, I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know. Man, you're asking these tough questions. That's a great question about what I want my legacy to be. I don't know. I just want to be someone who wasn't afraid to be himself. You know, that's all I want every day.
Yeah.
Every day, I don't want to go to sleep knowing I feared doing something because, well, knowing I didn't do something because I was afraid to do it. I've
Right.
already I've been through that, and I don't. I'm not going back to that. So I guess with legacy, I just want to be known as someone who wasn't afraid to do what he wanted to do, wasn't afraid of being himself, and yeah.
That's fire, bro. This last segment of the show. I personally love this segment. It's called the Speak Life segment. James, life and death comes from the power of the tongue. So this is me speaking life over you, bro. O'Neal, man, it's just so awesome just to see you utilize your creativity and your God-given gift, man. For you to continue to step outside of what the norm or what us as first generation Americans coming from African parents, okay, get a good job, do this, do that. But seeing you pursue your passion effortlessly, you being able to have this mindset that is towards excellence and manifestation, you being able to be your authentic and true self, bro. I love your content. I love your stuff, and I love your music. And this is not me just saying, "Oh yeah, yeah, I love you, whatever." I'm not trying to cap, but this is honestly from genuinely from the bottom of my heart, bro. Thank you for all that you're doing, and thank you for being the man that you are. Thank you for being. Thank you for putting me on with Evan. Thank you for just you living your truth and being a light, bro. Um, you inspire me, and I bet you inspire a lot of people, but you do inspire me, man. I'm so grateful for all that you've done. There's
Man,
nothing but love from my side.
I appreciate you. I appreciate you so much. Thank you for having me on the show, and it was a good talk. I'm very proud to see what you're doing and the lives that you are influencing, and you just following what you're passionate about. You're not afraid to take risks. I saw that story where you were posting about. I think you shouted out one of these producers for a creative idea you had for a show,
Right.
and that's huge. That's huge. Like the fact that you were fearless enough to even reach out to that person, it says something about you. So just keep doing what you're doing, and any way that I can help will be of support. Just let me know, and I'm there. I'm here for it. I'm down.
Bro, dude, likewise, man. Dude, high key, likewise, bro. Um, anyway, bro. I know a little bit of some producers or whatever, like for your music or anything like that, man. So,
Yeah. I'm actually releasing a song on Friday called Third Eye Love, and it's
oh no, I know.
basically about yeah, yeah.
Like, tell the people what's up.
Oh, I'm releasing a song called Third Eye Love this Friday, and it's basically me asking, what is it that God didn't want me to see? There was a time I was going through of confusion, and I didn't know what step to take. So I was just unsure about what path to take. So Third Eye Love is basically me coming to terms with not doing everything and doing what I'm passionate about and loving it. So it's coming out on Friday.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, y'all. Watch out. Watch out for him. Hey, where can the people follow you at?
Oh, follow me on Instagram at Kenna, Kena dot M as in Mary, B as in boy, Kenna dot MB. And that's my Instagram. So follow me there.
Yeah, follow him there. Once you follow him, you can see the link in his bio. You can pre-save Third Eye Love. Make sure you stream his music. Make sure he's on the rise and he's doing some great stuff, bro.
I
Super
appreciate
appreciate
you.
amazing conversation. That is it for season 2, episode 16 of Camp. No, season 3. Pardon me, episode 16 of Cuts. We appreciate y'all. Peace.